think something strange is going on around here. Danny here, welcome back to my channel. We're back again for another episode of WandaVision. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the third episode of the first season of WandaVision. Stick around until the end of the video. I'll be going over some of my theories of what I think is going on in this strange show. But thank you for joining me, and let's talk WandaVision. So, I just want to start off by saying this episode, it got real. The first two episodes were great. They really kept the sitcom vibe, and it wasn't until towards the very end of the first episode that we saw a little bit of what's going on outside of the sitcom life that Wanda and Vision are experiencing. And in the second episode, there were a couple of occurrences, like the radio, where they were asking Wanda, hey, who's doing this to you, Wanda? But in the third episode, as you get towards the end, it picks up. But before we get to that, let me go ahead and talk about the selling point of this show and this being a sitcom. It was great to see the opening with the Partridge Family style intro music, intro song. That was fun. A little bit of the Brady Bunch at the end when you see the hexagons and 1 + 1 is 2 and 2 equals a family. That was pretty funny. And throughout this episode, there were some really cool jokes, some funny jokes that really landed for me. I just thought it was hilarious. Vision is asking all these questions like, how is this happening? And the doctor pretty much tells him, it's normal for fathers to be nervous. And Vision is like, let me have my nerves are made of steel. These little jokes that are sort of meta jokes really land because you've been following the journey with these characters for such a long time and you get to know them so well. They make sense. They're funny. This episode pretty much took the anecdotes of sitcom episodes where there's a family member and they're about to have a kid and all the crazy stuff that happens when they're going to go into labor, and it kind of follows that formula. And as you're getting this episode, weird, strange, magical things start happening. Wanda's going through her pregnancy at super speed. There's a line where Vision says, oh, and I thought I was fast with my super speed. And I'm going to kind of talk about that a little bit later and how it ties to one of my theories. But we also get the scene where Wanda is working on the nursery and Wanda's pregnant. She wants to make a home for her baby. And they go back and forth talking about what they're going to name their child. And they're very confident that it's going to be a boy. So Vision is saying, oh yeah, Billy, because William Shakespeare, right? And Wanda wants to name him Tommy. So they're going back and forth, and it's just fun seeing that interaction. But then there's that one moment where things start happening and it's almost out of Wanda's control, right? In the nursery where the butterflies come to life, she says, oh, did I do that? I didn't mean to. Well, what if it wasn't her doing that? But again, let me continue talking about some of the other aspects of this show that I really liked, and I'll come back to this scene a little bit later on to talk again about my theory and kind of tie it back to that. But as the episode's progressing, you're seeing, this crazy little adventure of Vision and Wanda trying to have their child. As Wanda is going through different phases of her pregnancy, you see things happening in their surroundings. And it's not just impacting them in the house, it's also impacting the neighborhood. There's these little moments of comedy that is just very classic comedy. It's just fun, it's entertaining. But don't let that fool you, because underneath all the laughter, all the joy, and all the fun that we're having with this show, there's some underlining mysteries. There's something going on. And you see this become more obvious in this episode. Wanda's having contractions and she's ready to go into labor. Her water breaks and it starts raining inside their house. So Vision has to go off and find a doctor before he goes to Bermuda. Geraldine comes in looking for a bucket because she has a flood going on in her house and her pipes burst or whatever the case is. We get this little fun moment, right, where the store comes to life and Wanda's trying to hide the store. She even uses her magic to try to make it disappear, but it doesn't. It's still there. Geraldine is going off in her story, and Wanda's just freaking out trying to hide her belly. She has her bowl of fruit, and Geraldine's just going off on her story. Wanda drops the bowl of fruit, and Geraldine sees that Wanda's pregnant. Geraldine is trying to support her through this process of going into labor. Vision is not there. He went on his way to get the doctor. Wanda's going into labor. She has the baby, and Vision comes through the door with the doctor. The doctor makes the comment, "We were going so fast, I thought we were flying." Geraldine brings the doctor over to the kitchen. Vision and Wanda have a private moment together, and Wanda tells Vision, "Don't you want to see your baby with your true form?" And Vision just kind of gets rid of the human face and the hair, and he calls the baby Tommy. And Wanda looks at him and she's like, "Tommy?" He's like, "Yeah." And at that moment again, we have that last brief moment of comedy, because as Vision is holding Tommy and Wanda and him are having a moment, she just has another burst of pain because she's having a second child. So she's screaming, Vision screaming, and they're getting ready for this second kid. We kind of skip to the next scene. Wanda and Vision are holding their children. The doctor's there. Geraldine is there. They put the kids in the crib. Vision decides to walk the doctor out. So Vision tells the doctor, "I hope you enjoy your holiday." And the doctor tells him, "Oh, well, about that, doesn't seem like we're gonna get away. After all, small towns, so hard to escape." And what does that mean? We're going to talk about that in more detail, but just want to continue recapping this story. As Vision is going to go back to his house, he notices that Agnes and Herb are gossiping. But you kind of briefly hear Agnes say, "Oh, did you see her go into their house?" So Vision comes over, they're talking to him, and they're asking him, "Hey, so is Geraldine with Wanda?" They're telling Vision that she's new, she has no husband, she has no home, and you see her about to tell him, "Well, she's here because," and Agnes is giving him that look, and Vision's like, "She's here because of what?" And Herb says, "She's here because we're," and Agnes just stops him. Vision just kind of looks at Herb and says, "Well, Herb," and he's like, "All right, I'll catch you on the flip," and he leaves. And this isn't the only strange moment with Herb. Earlier in the episode, you saw as he was trimming the hedges, he then starts cutting through his cement wall, and it was weird because it then kind of ties to what the doctor says. It appeared that Herb was almost trying to get away or escape or break out of somewhere. Before we start talking about our theories, we're going to go back inside the house and we're going to see what happens next with Wanda and Geraldine. And Geraldine makes the comment, "Wow, twins, you have twins." And Wanda tells her, "Oh, I used to be a twin. I had a brother, his name was Pietro." And that clicked to Geraldine. And Geraldine was kind of thinking about it, and Wanda started singing I believe it was a Sokovian lullaby, and Geraldine tells her, "Your brother, he was killed by Ultron." And that's when it got real. And this is where I want to spend some time talking about this scene, and I'm going to then jump into some of the theories that I have with what's going on, what may happen later on in this show. Wanda then asks Geraldine, "What did you just say?" And Geraldine had this look of confusion, almost as if I said something, but I just don't remember what I said. And Wanda reiterates, "What did you say about Pietro?" "Oh, Wanda, just get some rest and I'll take a shift." And Wanda tells her, "No, I think you should leave." And Geraldine just got super serious and she said, "Come on, Wanda, don't be like that."
No, I think you should leave.
Oh, Wanda, don't be like that.
Now, let me tell you, you don't talk to a mama like that, because Wanda just, she was about to flip out. She had that look in her eyes like, "Yo, who are you? Are you putting my kids in danger? The claws are out." And Wanda's hovering over the twins, and she's had that look in her face like, "I got rid of her, she's gone." That scene to me, it took the show to the next level because not only did the music change, but the tone changed. It went from being a lighthearted comedy, with some sprinkles of strange weirdness going on, some mysteries, but at this point it was, I feel threatened. I'm gonna take care of you. She noticed the necklace that Geraldine was wearing, which was a sword, and Wanda asked her, "What's that necklace? What's the symbol on that necklace?" And Geraldine was like, "Oh, Wanda," and it almost looked like she was kind of perplexed about what's going on and about this situation, but it sort of confirms that Geraldine is part of Sword, and Sword has some involvement here. And you see this static in the air with rippling effects, and you see Geraldine flying out, and you see some red energy around her. Obviously, Wanda just kind of launched her off, and she lands to the ground. Immediately, she's surrounded by agents, cars, helicopters, and you see the facility over to the background. It was very reminiscent to S.H.I.E.L.D.'s facility in Thor, where Thor's hammer had landed, and they were protecting that area. And as the camera pans out, you see these pylons, right? And they're facing towards the direction of Westview. And beyond those pylons, you see that crackling energy. Now, the question is, are those just spotlights? Or are those pylons actually creating that? Is that a force field? Is that something to keep whoever is inside of Westview from coming out? So let's talk about some theories here, and there's quite a bit to discuss. The doctor said, "I don't think we'll be getting away. After all, small towns are so hard to escape." That, with the scene from the beginning of the episode where Herb is trying to break through the cement wall, it gives you the impression that they're trying to get out. Are the neighbors prisoners of Wanda, or are they prisoners of Sword? What is Westview? What is going on in Westview? Herb said, "Because we're," and stopped right there. What are they, right? Are they prisoners? Are they villains? Are they mutants? What is going on, and why are they in Westview? Does that mean that Wanda is also imprisoned and they're keeping her in, and something happened with her powers that kind of caused this sitcom reality in Westview? Maybe. There's more to this. Geraldine was there on a mission. Now she's outside of Westview. Maybe she was trying to find out what was going on inside, what's going on with our prisoners, what's going on with the neighbors. You get the sense that the neighbors are aware of what's going on. Do all the neighbors know what's going on, or is it just a select few? For sure, Vision doesn't know what's going on, because there was a scene earlier in the episode where he comes in and Wanda is telling him about all the occurrences that are happening because of her pregnancy and how it's potentially impacting the neighbors. And she's asking, "Oh, do you think they suspect? And are they onto us?" And then Vision has this moment where he's like, "I think you're right. I think something wrong is going on here." And then you get a glitch. It wasn't just a Wanda was reversing time, it was a straight up glitch. And then Vision just kind of snapped out of it. But did Wanda do that? She had that look on her face when Vision made that statement that there's more going on here. And does Wanda want to escape this reality of creating a family with him, having her happily ever after with Vision? Vision didn't seem like he had a choice here. And it happened in the previous episode when they saw the beekeeper come out of the sewer and she reversed time. Vision didn't have the recollection of the man that came out of the manhole. So is Wanda trying to protect him? Is Wanda trying to keep the truth from Vision because she doesn't want her fantasy to shatter? Probably. But the neighbors know. Agnes knows. Herb knows, and it looks like the doctor knows as well. We're gonna get more as we get more episodes to talk a little bit more about what's going on in Westview, who's involved, who's the cause. Is Wanda doing this intentionally? Is she being manipulated? What's going on with that distortion that Geraldine flew out of? Those pylons, are they creating a force field to keep whatever's going on in Westview inside? Or are they just spotlights? But it didn't seem that way. Another theory that I have, I'm basing this off of the show. Again, Marvel uses the comic books as a reference, and it's obviously the source material and they take inspiration. They've always given these stories their spin to it. The occurrences that were going on while Wanda was experiencing the progression of her pregnancy caused by her, or was it potentially caused by Billy and her pregnancy moving at such a quick speed? Was that being caused by Tommy? So are the children causing these things to happen? Was it Billy that caused the stork to come to life? Was it Billy that caused the butterflies to come to life? Wanda did say, oh, did I do that? I didn't mean to. And Wanda's powerful enough to be able to control what she's doing. Granted, she's going through pregnancy, her body is going through changes, she's experiencing this for the first time. So it could happen, it could be that she's losing control of her powers, but there's also that potential that the kids have these abilities that are causing the strangeness that's surrounding Wanda and Vision to happen. That being the case, if we follow that theory and we pull on that thread, does that mean that Billy and Tommy are potentially the first mutants in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? If you think about it, mutants are children that are born with abilities. Are these occurrences that are happening caused by the children instead of it being caused by Wanda? I'm gonna briefly speak about the relation from the comic books to the show. If you rather not be spoiled on what can potentially happen within the show or within the MCU, you can kind of fast forward a little bit, but I'm gonna keep it very brief. But according to the comics, Tommy and Billy are Wanda's children. Billy is the superhero named Wiccan, and he has magical abilities like his mother. Tommy, his superhero name is Speed, and he has the ability that Wanda's brother Pietro had, which is speed. So that's why I say, are the children the ones causing this? Is it Tommy that's causing time to happen so fast, which is inducing her labor much quicker? Are the things coming to life like the stork and the butterfly and things flying all over the place being caused by Billy because the children don't have controls of their ability yet? And if that's the case, then they're connecting this to the source material. In the after credits scene of The Winter Soldier, Von Strucker says, we're no longer in the age of spies, we're not even in the age of heroes, we're in the age of miracles. And he's calling it miracles. Wanda might see her children as miracles, but when strange things are happening and unexplainable things cause people to have fear, they're not going to call them miracles, they're going to call them mutants. And that's when you potentially get this hatred towards them. And keep in mind that all of this is going on in Westview, and some of the neighbors might not know what's going on, they might not be aware, but if they do experience Wanda's power and the things that she's doing, this is probably how we get the Scarlet Witch. Obviously she's always in red, but if she's causing these magical things to happen, the townsfolk of Westview might see her just as that, as a witch. As I mentioned in my last video, she could lose control of her powers, she might cause things to happen that she can't control, and she may come across as a villain, not because she's doing these things intentionally to hurt anyone, but because she's losing control of her powers, she's losing control of her reality. So we're gonna see what happens next. We're gonna see what this show leads to at the very end. Are we going to get a big confrontation with Wanda and maybe someone else that tries to stop her? Because maybe sword isn't enough. So much going on and so much to discover within the show, so I'm really excited for what happens next. For the third episode, it started moving the story along. It took it to the next level of where this story needs to go. It maintained the sitcom vibe, the humor, the family dynamic between Wanda and Vision, but towards the end of this episode, like I said, things got real. Geraldine said the wrong things, asked the wrong questions, and Wanda had to get rid of her. We got confirmation of Sword. We also saw the pylons and the distortion, and what is that causing? So we got some answers. We got more questions. In the next episode, are we gonna find out what happened with Geraldine? Is she gonna tell her side of the story? Or are we gonna go back to the town of Westview and see a little bit more comedy and humor before we get back to the weird and strange world that we have going on in this story? So it's very exciting. Again, I can't express how excited and happy I am to get my MCU back after so long. But this show is just really nailing it for me, is doing all the right things. Even though it's just half an hour, it is a very satisfying half an hour, and I look so forward to the next episode. And I'm glad I'm able to talk about my theories with you. I'm glad I'm able to share my excitement. If you're excited for this show, if you have your theories, if you disagree with my theories, or if you think I'm right, leave a comment below. Share your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to leave a thumbs up, subscribe so that you can stay up to date with my content, and hit that notifications bell. Feel free to share this video. Hopefully you like it enough to want to share the video. But thank you so much for joining me. I will go ahead and talk to you next week about the next episode of WandaVision, and I can't wait to see what happens next. And until next time, that's a wrap. Excelsior. And did I say there's something strange going on here?